issue-based partnerships between various middle powers. Now, middle powers, if I call Pakistan, India, Central Asian countries, they could be part of one grouping on, let's say, technology, and they could be some could be part of another grouping on energy, and another one on climate, another one on trade and finance. You will not have overarching alliance structures defining the world as China and the US compete. In that space, I would contest that the only option that Pakistan and the Central Asian region perhaps have is connectivity and interdependence of their economic interests. We do not have the ability or the opportunity to weaponize economics like we are talking about. If that's true, then I go back to the seminal document, the National Security Policy. It talks about cooperative geoeconomics as Pakistan's future and lays out 3 pillars. Development partnerships, which means that we move away from seeking assistance to actually creating non-debt raising foreign exchange inflows. Because Pakistan's fundamental economic security, not economic security problem is that we keep running out of foreign exchange every 3 or 4 years. We get into a balance of payments crisis. If you are in that situation, your foreign policy cannot be independent. So number one, you've got to create non-debt raising foreign exchange inflows. How do you do that? Only 3 options available: export, FDI, and manpower export. The second pillar is connectivity. As I said, we are in a terrible situation when it comes to regional connectivity, but I'll speak to that a little bit more given that the panel's focus is on Central Asia. And the third one is, do not pick a camp. No camp politics, to find a space for yourself which is other than fighting the conflict for great powers or becoming a proxy battleground, which we've tried for most of our history and frankly has not delivered the results. So if I look at the Central Asian space for Pakistan, trade actually has been happening and has been picking up despite all the problems that we've had. If you look at the volume of trade, it's gone up. There's been a lot of investment that Pakistan and the Central Asian region has made. The rub actually lies in our failure, collective failure, to open up the warm waters of Pakistan for Central Asia. Trade is not going to be a game changer either ways. What will actually change this is connectivity for Central Asia through Afghanistan and Pakistan to Pakistan's warm waters, because Central Asia also has been trying to wean itself off the northern corridor. Iran is of course closed because of global sanctions. The only other one left is the middle corridor, which is actually functional, but the alternative is through Pakistan. That space, unfortunately, has still not been opened in the way that it should be. There's a lot more that needs to be done there. So that's the second pillar. And that's the second aspect of the Central Asian connection. Now, ideally, we have talked about Central Asia's connectivity going all the way to India and east into Bangladesh and Southeast Asia. Given where India is now, I unfortunately see no real possibility of that, at least till this Indian government continues on the path that it is. Then there are those existing mega projects of energy. I think there's a mixed sort of feeling about that. Some say they should be fast-tracked. Others feel it cannot be fast-tracked. I'm talking of TAPI and CASA 1000, etc. Whatever it may be, I think we need not drop any of those. This may not be the right time. There are financing issues, there are infrastructure issues, but the Trans-Afghan Rail is something that I think we must continue to think about. Even the energy projects, I think, have some merit, but they probably will have to be delayed till the situation in Afghanistan improves. And this is the final point of the Central Asia connection. I think our biggest question mark now is how to deal with Afghanistan. Because without Afghanistan, of course, there is no connectivity for Central Asia through Pakistan. I think as Pakistan, we cannot expect Central Asia to keep waiting for us to figure out how that works. And on Afghanistan, I think we need a very, very deep sort of analysis of where we want to go. I do not see any possibility of the position of the government of Afghanistan changing in the direction that we want. I speak from personal experience, having dealt with this and them and otherwise. If that is true, then is there a way to either get enough international community involved to get Afghanistan to do what we want? I don't know. Or can we then separate the economic problem from the security problem? This was at least the strategy that was pursued for 2 or 3 years after the Taliban took over. I understand it hasn't worked. The current one is a different direction. Whatever we may do, if the security problems prevent us from continuing economic engagement, I'm afraid the Central Asia connectivity dream is going to remain a dream. I think it's a very difficult question. I don't have an answer. But connectivity through Afghanistan remains critical if we have to open our western flank. And to me, the regional connectivity pillar for Pakistan for the foreseeable future is only about the north-south corridor with China and the western flank. The eastern one, I don't see opening anytime soon. Finally, a lot of people say, this is a pipe dream, it's not going to work. I don't know whether it will work or not. I keep asking people, what is your alternative? And the conversation ends at that point. The worst policy situation for a country is if you don't like what you have, but you don't have an alternative. That's trouble. So the national security policy gives a direction. It's a difficult direction. It may not work in the current circumstance, but we can't wait if we can't figure out what else to do. So we have to work on this north-south and western flank, to my mind. The Chinese will remain interested because the CPEC corridor will link up with this connectivity. In fact, the Americans and the West are interested because they also want to see Central Asia wean off the northern corridor, which is controlled, of course, to a large extent by Russia. So what can be done? Two things. One, this middle power coalition concept has to be studied more. Pakistan's foreign policy minds need to start looking at a third avenue beyond what to do with US, what to do with China, what to do with the Gulf. As I said, the future is going to be multiple middle powers coming together on specific issues, be it energy, be it trade and finance, be it connectivity. Do not expect the same country to be with you in every single matter. Wherever they are, that middle power grouping is going to work on a particular issue, and then you go to other countries and there will be some overlap. I'm part of the leadership team of a project at Harvard right now looking at exactly this question. And the only conclusion I've drawn so far is there is no neatness in foreign policy going forward. You will have multiple spheres of influence and middle powers will have agency like never before. What used to be called the non-aligned movement will now become a multi-aligned microlateral arrangement for countries. And the second part is think out of the box. Pakistan is investing heavily in mineral partnerships. Is there a way that you can get countries like the United States to come in who have a real stake in minerals now, and the Chinese who have a real stake in that part of Pakistan as well, to come together and push the Taliban to ensure that that region remains stable? Because without stability, their own investment is going to hurt. So if that combination of US and China can work to force some stability, in return give Afghanistan guarantee of connectivity, and a lot of money that they will make from that connectivity, Central Asia benefits, Pakistan benefits, and the geoeconomic paradigm that we've laid out actually starts succeeding. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Yusuf. You have set the tone, but there's some disappointment with regard to Afghanistan. And I hope that our Central Asian colleagues wanting to reach out to warm waters would also come up with some solutions. So here, I have the honor to introduce Dr. Jumart Obarbayev, His Excellency, the former Prime Minister of Kyrgyz Republic. He also worked as Deputy Prime Minister and the first Deputy Prime Minister of the Kyrgyz Republic. Dr. Otorbayev graduated with honors from Leningrad University in 1978. He received his PhD from Lebedev Physical Institute, Moscow, and received his research professorship in the Institute of General Physics, Moscow, in 1989. He worked in a few research institutions, including a visiting professor at the Eindhoven University of Technology, the Netherlands, from 1992 to 96. Mr. Oturbayev is a member of the Board of Trustees of Kyrgyz State National University and a founding member of the Board of Trustees of the American University in Central Asia, the only self-governing liberal arts university in the region since its inception in 1997. Mr. Oturbayev has been an honorary member and invited speaker at many boards and forums on emerging markets, development, and investment. Kyrgyz Republic is part of the connectivity with regard to CASA 1000. Dr. Jomad Oturbayev, how CASA 1000 can become a reality and benefit Afghanistan and Pakistan would be of great interest for us here in Islamabad. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you for introduction, and I can't stop myself from congratulate organizers with excellent conference, high level of participants, guaranteeing success of our communication. I also feel very comfortable here because I sit next to my brothers with another brothers who are in this room. So it's emotionally very sensitive and positive phenomenon that Margalla conference organized, hosting Central Asia / Pakistan cooperation. We are very close. Geographically, we are incredibly close. Yesterday, I flew to Islamabad from Tashkent, and it took 1 hour, 20 minutes. And distance between my capital city, Bishkek, and Islamabad, shorter than distance between Islamabad and Karachi. So this is kind of attachments which we have all along the history, but unfortunately, geography is not really persuading good economic cooperation. But time changing, and we are getting closer every day. I like very much emphasis which you and first reporter mentioned about importance of connectivity. For us, it's very sensitive for a very simple reason, because all our 5 countries are landlocked. We can't have privilege, luxury to jump into the sea to make friendship elsewhere. We must develop friendship within our neighborhood. And then if your transportation costs are high, you're uncompetitive. Simple. That is why matter of connectivity is so critically important for our survival and development. Another point, economic interest. How to get our countries get closer to Pakistan in terms of economic cooperation and trade. By making roads. And what I would like to say is that we are discussing for many years that soon will be realized huge railway project. It's through Termez, Mazar-e Sharif, Kabul, Peshawar, further to Gwadar and Karachi. All feasibility study has been done many years ago, and now we wanted to start again. With the government of Afghanistan, we now in full speed try to move it ahead. Number 1. Number 2 is TAPI, gas pipeline from Turkmenistan to Afghanistan, Pakistan, India. So these 2 mega projects will bring us closer. So it will make our economic cooperation practical. This is important. Why Central Asia could be interesting for Pakistani cooperation? Let me say, provoke a little bit discussion, saying why Central Asia is unique. Last 20 years, average growth in our region was 6.7%. Last 20 years. This year, it's even larger. So we became Asian tigers. In Asia, we are the most quickly developing area. And we're carrying 3 unique characteristics in our region. three unique characteristics which you cannot find in other parts of the world. Number one, completely educated population, very highly educated population, everybody educated. Number two, we have high economic growth, which I already mentioned to you. And number three, we have very good demographic growth. Yeah? So these unique characteristics you cannot find anywhere in the world. That is why we are moving forward and optimistic about our future. Yeah, we now, number one, we now united. It was difficult 34 years to bringing our political landscape and security characteristics closer to each other. But from this year, very, very, very sensitive border issues in Central Asia was stopped, finalized. We have zero border issues in Central Asia, which was not very easy to achieve. And if we have very sensitive area, we have Fergana Valley, the most densely populated place on earth, when three of our countries bordering each other, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, and Tajikistan, when population density in that area really unprecedented. So we fixed the border issue. Now we have five. 1 week ago, our five presidents went to Washington, to White House to meet President Trump. And we, our presidents, were received with high honor. There was no begging like others doing. There is no huge mass media standing behind negotiating party as others. It was really recognition of our reputation. So we are not big. We're still a relatively small country, a relatively small region. Then now hub, about transportation hub. Most of you know the old good days of Great Silk Road, when Central Asia was the most prosperous part of the world, for simple reason, because we connected west and east, south and north. Perhaps you know that Buddhism came to China through Central Asia, for instance. There was Silk Road, not traditional way, only Europe, China, but also to the South Asia. Now we are in the process of revival. We are in the process of so-called Eurasian rail revolution, when trains between city of Chongqing in China achieve city of Duisburg in Germany in 12 days. And now every year this trains volume transportation trade picking up. Now when we will build north-south way to ports of Indian Ocean, we will transferring ourselves as a hub, transportation hub of Eurasia. And remarkable fact is that partly because of the problem in the Red Sea, the cost of transportation between Europe and China became cheaper than sea. Not only quicker, environmentally more friendly, but cheaper. So more logistical companies wanted to explore this way. So we returning back to the old good Silk Road times with new reality. And then we will be making good trade cooperation with Pakistan, with South Asia as well. We have excellent political relationships. Shanghai Cooperation Organization is absolutely fantastic institution. And last summit, which held in Tianjin in China, showed absolutely fantastic results. So we must continue on that way. But again, I would like to bring your attention that we really looking forward for the active cooperation with our brotherly nation of Pakistan. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. Thank you, Excellency, for your very enlightened views about the Central Asian progress in resolving their border disputes. And I think it would also help us, at least with Afghanistan, although we don't consider this as a borders dispute. still we have 17 tribes along the border. They are divided on both sides of the border, so that is an issue. And then accessibility to each other, hopefully good sense would prevail. And then Afghanistan and Pakistan can be accessible to Central Asia, especially for the warm waters. Now I have the privilege to invite Professor Dr. Kirill Babayev. He'll be coming online. Dr. Babayev is the director of the Institute of China and Contemporary Asia in the Academy of Sciences of Russia. He chairs the Russian National Committee of the Council for Security Cooperation in the Asia Pacific and is the deputy chairman of the Presidium of the Scientific Council of the BRICS National Research Committee. In 2023, he was elected president of the National Coordination Center for International Business Cooperation. His experience spans both academic and business sectors. He graduated from Moscow State Institute of International Relations in 2000. He also holds a degree in financial management, public administration, history of arts, and Oriental studies. Holding a PhD in philosophy in 2008, a Doctor of Science in Philosophy in 2013, he is also professor at the Financial University under the government of the Russian Federation. His scholarly output includes numerous books and articles on international relations, linguistics, anthropology, ethnography, and Oriental studies. He is proficient in 13 foreign languages. In summer 2024, Dr. Kirill Babayev presented his book, Pivot to the East, Russia's East Asian Vector, 2014-2024. How Russia can play a role in galvanizing the connectivity in East-West corridor that encompasses South and Central Asia. Dr. Kirill Babayev, the audience would be interested to know your enlightened views. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much. Do you hear me well? First of all, this is the main question.
Yes?
Excuse me,
Yeah, we can
hear
hear
me?
you.
Yeah, you can hear me.
We can hear you.
Very good. Thank you very much. And once again, I would like to express my gratitude for inviting me to participate in this highly esteemed international forum. This is my first time I'm participating in the Margalla Forum, and this is a great chance to both discuss the matters of global and regional stability and the current trends in the regional economy, in the world economy, in the world technology. So this is a high privilege for me. Once again, thank you very much for this opportunity. So what I would like to speak about is the matters of regional stability, how we understand it here in Russia. You know that during the recent years, Russia has been moving towards the east, and this trend is one of the most mainstream, one of the main trends of the Russian foreign policy. Russia is now turning to the east in order to find some kind of a new balance for its both political and economic relations. And this process has been going for almost a decade already and has resulted in quite a number of interesting results already. First of all, Russia has strengthened its relations with its strategic partners in East and South Asia, some of them including China, the ASEAN countries, Mongolia, North Korea, and definitely countries in South Asia, such as Pakistan and India. So Russia has created quite a number of new strategic partners whose interests coincide with the national interests of Russia. And the main national interest of our country is actually to build a totally new atmosphere of international relations in Asia and in Eurasia. We see Eurasia as a space which will be fully corresponding to the principles of the UN Charter in terms of respect of national interests for all countries, big and small, lack of any violence, lack of any illegal pressure and unilateral sanctions and limitations on trade, economy, transportation, and moving of goods and peoples, and definitely the respect to political and social systems of all countries. These are actually principles which are well known to everyone because they are as the basis of the UN Charter. However, in the current world politics, geopolitics, these principles are sometimes forgotten by the Western countries who would like to imply their own principles, their own system of corporate and state governance to those countries which have absolutely different traditions, national history, and social systems. So I think what we, countries of the global majority, now proclaim is that all countries and all traditional systems of governance, of security, of economy, have the right to exist, and we definitely should respect them. I think this is one of the most important principles of creating the new structure of global stability and of regional stability in the Greater Eurasia. The Greater Eurasia is actually a combination of countries which are unified by common principles, and these are exactly the principles which have just outlined. I think that we agree with our partners in Asia, such as China and India, Pakistan, Iran, countries of the Middle East, countries of ASEAN, that we need to define our common destiny ourselves, and that we need to build a new Eurasia, which will be based on principles of fair treatment and mutual respect. So this is what we are doing now, and this is what I think we are moving forward to. And there are quite a lot of regional organizations which support these principles and which may become cornerstones of this regional stability and of the formation of the new Greater Eurasia. These organizations include, for example, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, BRICS, which was mentioned here, and also the Eurasian Economic Union, as well as ASEAN and the organizations of Islamic countries, the Union of Arab countries of the Gulf. These are all the international platforms which may serve as the foundation for building the common Greater Eurasia, unified by common principles. We should also name ambitious initiatives such as the Road and Belt initiatives proclaimed by China, which Russia also fully supports, and which may also contribute to unifying the Greater Eurasia. What I think we need to do now is, having all these organizations in place, we need to somehow unify their strategies and their objectives in order to get a common understanding of how this Greater Eurasia might look like. Because this is a chance for all of our countries to get a model of the future world governance system. I think all the world is now looking at Eurasia as a possible model for creating a new infrastructure of global governance, of global security, and of the world's economic principles, principles of trade and transportation. And our task is now to create this model in order to provide for successful operation and for the proof for the whole world that we are going into the right direction and we can serve as this model. I think that the relations, for example, between Russia and Pakistan is one of the examples of how the countries respect mutual interests of each other and can coexist and build mutually beneficial economic relations and economic projects and support each other in political sense. We are quite happy with how the cooperation between our two countries is going on within the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. We definitely would be happy to see Pakistan among the BRICS countries, or the partners of BRICS at least, and we will be happy to promote more economic partnerships between Russian and Pakistani companies. Actually, my institute, the Institute of China and Contemporary Asia, is the main governmental think tank which is studying the current situation in Asia and providing our foreign ministry and our government, our presidential office with insights of how to modify and make more efficient external policy, foreign policy of Russia. And we emphasize the importance of South Asian partnerships in order to build this greater Eurasia. We are now working very actively on the so-called transport corridor north-south, which will include Pakistan also. So we have quite a lot of things to do, but what I would probably emphasize once again is that we are now, we have a great opportunity to make something absolutely new in the system of governance in the world, and to promote some new infrastructure which will create a world free from any domination, free from any unilateral limitations on trade and economic relationship between the countries. So we're creating some kind of a new globalism which will replace the Western dominated globalization and which will make the countries of global south, the countries of the world majority, much closer and much closer to the new system of global governance based on the principles of fair treatment and mutual respect. So this is how we see it, and I would be very much happy to share these sides, this opinion with the people present at this conference and beyond. So we are always open for cooperation with the leading think tanks and expert communities of all the countries of Eurasia and the Global South, and we will be happy to get in touch with you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Babayev. An excellent presentation, and definitely there's improvement in Pakistan-Russia relationship, and it's growing from strength to strength. My next guest on this panel is Mr. Karim Nazarev. Mr. Karim Nazarev is the Deputy Director at the Center for Strategic Research under the President of the Republic of Tajikistan. He also serves as a specialist in the Department of International Relations at the Ministry of Culture. He has an extensive academic background, having spent over a decade at Tajik National University, where he taught and conducted research in the Department of Political Science. He began his career as a faculty member in the department. His professional journey reflects a strong commitment to both academia and public service, combining scholarly expertise with practical engagement in international relations and strategic research. Mr. Karim Nazarev, your views on Tajikistan's role in catalyzing the process of connectivity through land routes for greater access to the Gwadar port would enhance the understanding of the participants. The floor is yours, sir.
My speech relates to regional security, and I try to express Tajikistan position in ensuring security, regional security or international security. And by scientific level or dimension, analyzing problems is very important by scientific. And in the point of view, we can, first of all, determine the problems and we can resolve it. And one of the problems in modern world is the problem crisis of ensuring security. Today, countries around the world face a multitude of risks and challenges right in store, and human society face unprecedented security dilemmas. What concept of security does the world need, and how can all countries achieve common security has become a pressing question for all to see. Tajikistan supports the resolution of all disputes and conflicts through political and diplomatic means. We must redouble our effort to achieve a lasting and comprehensive peace based on international law. Tajikistan proposal in 79th session of the United General Assembly to adopt a special resolution proclaiming a decade for the consolidation of peace for future generation is aimed at strengthening peace and peacefully resolving global problems. A year later, the adoption of such a resolution has become even more pressing. In today's turbulent world, this initiative will create a condition for international cooperation to achieve lasting peace. In such complex and changing conditions, the role of the United Nations as a platform for dialogue, cooperation, and the strengthening of peace and security throughout the world is becoming more important than ever. In this regard, our countries must make joint consistent effort in international practice to protect the principle and return to full compliance with international law. Unfortunately, the United Nations efforts in this direction are not producing results. Due to disagreements, the Security Council of this influential body cannot even reach a unified position of adopting a resolution aimed at protecting the lives of citizens. The United Nations Security Council cannot ensure security because of the veto power wielded by the 5 permanent members, which allows them to block any decision even if a majority of countries support it. Therefore, the countries of the world, due to this international anarchy, are trying to establish good relations with each of these permanent members of the Security Council, as they are likely to become the object of this country's geopolitical goals and struggles. The Security Council does not represent the interests of the international community and therefore lacks the means to ensure peace. When UN Security Council member states fail to agree on the solution to the problems of war and peace, and geopolitical interests take central stage, the global order is disrupted. As a result, security becomes a crisis, as promoting the interest of one state comes at the expense of another. In this situation, the security dilemma takes on particular significance. What is secular dilemmas? Secular dilemmas arise when power seeks hegemony rather than compromise. This leaves room for the legitimate security interests of other countries. The dilemma explains why systems in which states emphasize national security extremely fragile, since it is impossible to distinguish defensive from offensive measures. Each side's attempts to enhance its own security simply exacerbate the other's insecurity, triggering countermeasures and that perpetuate as vicious cycle. International security largely depends on the creators of the New World Order, that is, on actors in international politics. This is because the question of peace and war is decided primarily by the actors of international politics and in particular by permanent members of UN Security Council. The UN Security Council reflects the relation of the historical period following the end of World War II, and its function as well of purely the consolidation of great powers that emerged from the global conflict as victors allows. And for example, League of Nations could ensure the principle of international law. And today, United Nations cannot ensure this. And the result is strengthening a pierced dilemma of security. The security of all nations is indivisible. Ensuring the security of the one country at the expense of the insecurity of others is indivisible and inappropriate. Regional security is implemented within a special region. Regional security is achieved through the participation of countries and the creation of organization. One prominent example of such organization is Shanghai Cooperation Organization. For China, one of the key areas of Shanghai Organization is ensuring regional security. The organization allows Beijing to cooperate with other member countries in the fight against the threats of terrorism, extremism, and separatism, the so-called three evils forces. In this regard, the Shanghai Organization provides Beijing with the opportunity to coordinate efforts with the neighboring states, thereby ensuring the security of its own borders. In this regard, China solemnly launches the Global Security Initiative, which proposes a commitment to and concept common, comprehensive, cooperative, and sustainable security as advocate for transition to a new type of security based on dialogue of rather than confrontation, partnership rather than blocks, and mutual benefits rather than zero-sum. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in September 2025 in China and the recent meeting of Commonwealth of Independent States Council of Heads of State in the Republic of Tajikistan in October 2025 with the introduction of the new CIC Plus cooperation model will open a new window into the review and examination of international system. In modern era, when the world is undergoing a process of the reforming the previous international security system and countries of the global south are climbing the status of equal global player, the Shanghai Organization potential to become a platform for unifying the forces of the global world is significantly expanding. As opening of Shanghai Operation Organization Summit, Xi Jinping stated the alliance must not only strengthen regional security, but also shape a new equitable economic order. To achieve this, member countries must develop joint projects, deepen trade ties, and simplify investment procedures. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization brings together Asian countries and through fruitful cooperation within the organization and other forums promotes and secure environment. At the same time, friendly ties and security cooperation between the organization member states and other countries strengthen security. The Asian countries' position on the Palestinian issue and their protests against Israel action have not been aligned. Tajikistan's position on this issue has remained unchanged. It condemns the human tragedy in Gaza and the attack on Iran and Qatar. These events exacerbate security issues in the region. Even this is necessary to build a new security system in the region based on the idea of humanity, striving to overcome internal contradiction and achieve maximum unification. To achieve peace and unity in the region, countries must take a unified position on issues. Issues and views should not be approached with double standards for the sake of short-term interest. In particular, double standards should not be applied to threats, especially terrorism. The inability to reach agreement on the fight against terrorism is first and foremost a crisis in the recognition of terrorism. When common sense positions are adopted, one can confidently say the region will become a safe space. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Karim Nazarev. Thank you very much for your excellent views. Now, I invite Mr. Nematov Akramjon from Republic of Uzbekistan. He is the first Deputy Director of the Institute for Strategic and Regional Studies under the President of the Republic of Uzbekistan. Research areas, his research areas include international relations, regional cooperation, civil society, development issues, religious and inter-ethnic activities, as well as security issues. Mr. Nematov Akramjon Ekhonomovich, Uzbekistan is a signatory of trilateral rail project between Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Uzbekistan, which can serve as a major transport corridor, not only for the signatory countries, but also for Central Asia and beyond. We would be interested to know your views about the prospects of this project. The floor is yours, sir.
Yes, thank you very much for giving me the floor. It's my third time in Pakistan, and the first time I'm at the Margalla dialogue. For the first time, I was 2018. At that time, I had an honor to visit the office of General Mr. Nasser Khan Janjua, and I enjoyed at that time the presentation of the General about the vision of Pakistan, the connectivity of between Central Asia and South Asia. And today I would like to speak how we see the connectivity between our regions. It was mentioned by my colleague, respected colleague from Kyrgyzstan, connectivity between Central and South Asia is not only the key for the development, it's also an important factor in maintaining security and stability in our macro region. Today in Central Asia, we have a strong consensus regarding the necessity of building connectivity between our regions. In 2022, the UN General Assembly adopted a special resolution calling for strengthening connectivity between Central and South Asia. It was proposed by our president, and it was supported by all countries of the region. For Central Asia, connectivity means diversification of economic ties. It can be a powerful driver for our development. In turn, South Asia will get the opportunity to the fast developing market of Central Asia with its growing consumer demand. Moreover, for South Asia, our region can serve as a platform for entering the market of the whole Eurasia. Central Asia, it was mentioned, adds almost 1.5 million people annually. And by 2050, its population will be more than 100 million. It's one of the youngest regions in the world, with a median age of 26. And thanks to the policy of Good Neighbor Alliance, Central Asia has become more consolidated today. It's turning into a space of new opportunities and center of economic gravity. Over the past 8 years, it was mentioned by my colleague, the economy of Central Asia has been growing by 6% annually, twice the global average. Meanwhile, trade with the outside world has increased 2.5 times. As our President Shavkat Mirziyoyev recently noted at the UN General Assembly, the era of closed borders, unresolved disputes and conflicts is in the past. Today, Central Asia is a space of peace, Good Neighbor Alliance, and partnership. We speak about the new Central Asia, and the new situation in Central Asia creates favorable conditions for interregional cooperation and the implementation of large-scale trans-regional infrastructure projects. Today, the countries of Central Asia conduct a policy of openness, restore its historical role as a bridge between West and East, North and South. Moreover, Central Asia is becoming a prospective point of growth, strengthening connectivity of the whole Eurasia. Dear participants, lasting peace in Afghanistan is the key to forming a reliable architecture of connectivity between Central and South Asia. It's equally important to understand that Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Central Asia build a single complex of regional security. Our challenges are common, and they can only be overcome jointly, exclusively through cooperation. Therefore, we are strongly condemn all forms and manifestations of terrorism. Our nations carry the main burden of the long-standing conflict in Afghanistan. Pakistan, in particular, has always been the first to feel the consequences of any destabilization in the neighboring country. At the same time, Pakistan has always provided fraternal support to Afghans, hosting millions of refugees. It's important to acknowledge this historical responsibility that Pakistan has demonstrated over all these years. That's why we are deeply concerned about the growing tensions on the Afghan-Pakistan border. We call for a diplomatic solution. Mutual trust and restraint are very important. The parties should find the will to maintain the ceasefire and do everything to ensure that the territories of the two countries will not be used as a safe haven for terrorists, as promised by the new authorities 2021 in Afghanistan, We hope that the mediation of Qatar, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates will create all the conditions for this. I would like to note, we have a common format between Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, and Pakistan, respected Mr. Durrani has mentioned, to discuss issues of economic connectivity. But I think this platform could be used for strengthening regional security too. In general, there is no viable alternative to dialogue. Only dialogue can strengthen trust and help to find compromises. Confrontation postpones problems, deepens them, and does not guarantee long-term solutions. No matter how acute the issues are, they must be the subject of dialogue. These are not only words, it's our experience in the region, which has enabled us to build a security community in Central Asia. If we cannot overcome internal contradictions independently, I think external interference will strengthen. And the fundamental interests of our region will become hostage of geopolitics. Even that's why it's important to conduct dialogue on common security, however difficult it may be. And at the same time, economic connectivity must be strengthened without politicization, how the former security advisor has mentioned. Overall, cooperation on security should focus on removing the causes and conditions that generate threats rather than on their consequences. A solution may be socio-economic projects, especially in border areas. It will stimulate development, eliminate the social basis of radicalization, and involve local communities in maintaining peace and stability to our region. This approach is common for all countries of Central Asia. In this context, important role can have such a cross-border project as TAPI gas pipeline, Kasa power transmission line, and the Trans-Afghan corridor promoted by Central Asian states. Their realization will lead to fundamental transformation of the geostrategic landscape of the entire macro region. The Trans-Afghan Railway will not only be the shortest route connecting South and with Central Asia, Russia, China, and Europe, but will also create alternative sources of income for millions of people. These projects are not only a source of huge economic benefit, but also important investment in peace building in Central and South Asia. They can stabilize the region more effectively than any political deal and increase Afghanistan's and its neighbors' interest in the necessity of long-term stability and peace in the region. Dear friends, today Uzbekistan and Pakistan act as flagships in developing cooperation between Central and South Asia. With the election of Shavkat Mirziyoyev as president of Uzbekistan in 2017, our relations reached the level of strategic partnership. A continuous and comprehensive political dialogue is being conducted. In just past 4 years, we have held nearly 20 high-level negotiations, 2 times more than in the previous 30 years. Trade shows unprecedented growth. Since 2017, turnover has increased 11-fold. And the presence of Pakistani business in Uzbekistan has grown 6-fold. This is not the limit. The potential is huge. It's gratifying that people-to-people contacts are increasing. For example, in 2017, just over 20 Pakistanis studied in Uzbekistan, only 20. Today, there are almost 1,500, and the figures are growing. These people will form the future of our cooperation. Dear colleagues, today Uzbekistan is strongly committed to working together with Pakistan and all partners to strengthen cooperation between our regions. This spring, our institute has launched for the first time the Terms Dialogue on Connectivity between Central and South Asia. The first meeting gathered delegates from 20 countries and high-level representatives from our region. We are going to organize the next meeting next year in the spring, and we are inviting you. I hope you will support. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Akramjan Homonovich. In any case, I would like that how you see this project coming up, Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan rail project. If you can enlighten us on that also.
I'm optimistic. I believe that the dialogue will be between Pakistan and Afghanistan. It's clear that the situation in Afghanistan is a pro-condition for the realization of this project. And you know that we have signed a treaty this year between our countries, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Uzbekistan. We are going to conduct a visibility study. We have established an office, project office, not only in Uzbekistan, in Kabul too. And we have a team which is working on. And we know that de facto government in Kabul is strongly interested in this project. I can imagine that it can be hostage of these tensions, but there is a huge interest there. I think we have to conduct dialogue. We have to make it possible that this project function. It can be a trigger, I think, for fundamental changes in the region.
We are keeping our fingers crossed, hopefully, and thank you very much. Now I invite distinguished Dr. Mukhit Asanbayev. Dr. Mukhit Asanbayev is Chief Expert of the Department of International Security, Kazakhstan Institute of Strategic Studies under the President of the Republic of Kazakhstan. He is a graduate of the Faculty of International Relations of Kazakh Ablay Khan State University of International Relations and World Languages. He holds a scientific degree of Candidate of Political Science obtained from postgraduate study at Abal Kazakh National Pedagogical University. He was engaged in scientific and lecturing activities at the University of Suleiman Demirel University and then Kazakh Ablay Khan State University of International Relations and World Languages. Abe Kazakh National Pedagogical University. There are so many universities, wonderful. So Dr. Mukhit Asanbayev, I think the audience would be interested to know Kazakhstan's perspective in making the connectivity in the entire region a possibility because area-wise Kazakhstan is the largest country in the entire Central Asia. So would be interested to know your views. The floor is yours, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. First of all, I'm very much grateful for the organizers. It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me, and I hope we make a good commitment for our shared common destiny, one more step much more closer. So connectivity is a key word. As you noticed, most of the speakers paid tribute to this understanding. My talking points basically is about two aspects of connectivity. Enhancing modern connectivity between Central and South Asia, and some historical links which have a significant importance if we want to look forward for the future, because this is a bridge between past and the present. So the prospects for developing regional connectivity between two regions, Central and South Asia, as previous speaker noted correctly, are closely related to the security and long-term stability in this region, in particular in Afghanistan. And however no external actors or efforts can ensure stability in this country, it depends basically on the Afghan authorities, their willingness in stabilizing the situation by building inclusive society, political structure. Only when Afghanistan steers towards sustainable development, this country will have the opportunity to become an integral player in trade, transit, and interregional economic cooperation. So, for the most part of the 20th century, this country has been a barrier, obstacle for connectivity. But I do believe that with the attempts and the multiple efforts from different sides, we could transform this country from obstacle to the bridge, and bridging these two regions, which had historical ties. And China is now reasonably successful, by the way, in making this. While the US also has recently unsuccessfully attempted to promote the idea of creating shared transit and trade infrastructure for Central Asia, taking into account the conceit of transforming Afghanistan, Beijing is now reasonably successful. The same can be said on Russia. Talking about China, China's promising economic stability by integrating the two region infrastructure. Now we see CPAC, which is, I think, on a second phase. It's also good impact and prospects for development. Regarding China or Russia, sorry, it aspires to dominate the states of Central Asia economically by creating an economic convergence zone in cooperation between the Eurasian Economic Union and other regions, including South Asia. So all these trends indicate today the establishment of regional connectivity between Central and South Asia. This trend has become one of the vectors of global policy, considering the new realities in this region. Achieving regional connectivity involving Afghanistan is a guarantee for ensuring regional stability in Central and South Asia. I think I don't need to give much more details about how these two regions have very few trade relationship. You know, it's much more better being here in South Asia. I just would like to put accentuate how, in fact, we can talk or promote the energy cooperation, different pipelines and gas transit projects. For example, Kazakhstan, as well as other Central Asian states, landlocked states with energy surpluses. Enhanced connectivity with South Asia represents an opportunity to broaden access to international markets. For energy deficient Pakistan and neighboring South Asia countries, such cooperation facilitates access to Central Asia's abundant natural resources and offers alternative transit corridors to global trade network. This dynamic underscores the growing relevance, for example, of bilateral relations between two regions. Take a look at Kazakhstan-Pakistan cooperation as a part of a broader regional integration processes and intercontinental connectivity initiatives. In this context, the development of transit and logistics links toward Pakistan's seaport holds particular strategic significance for Kazakhstan. For its part, Pakistan has a growing interest in importing energy resources, driven by a steady annual increase in domestic and energy demand. With a population exceeding 200 million, Pakistan represents a sizable energy market. Of particular interest in Pakistan's potential use of Kazakhstan energy infrastructure to facilitate the transit of, for example, we are talking about the Russian natural gas via the Central Asia Sencha gas pipeline. This is a legacy of Soviet gas production. And the point is, the thing is that this gas could then have been redirected into the Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India pipeline. So, as our American guest friend, now already friend, I do believe, we can make TAPI great again using this alternative. We can also talk about the Pakistan Stream Gas Pipeline project, which deserves special attention too. This initiative envisions the construction of a major pipeline with a capacity of 12.4 billion cubic meters per year, intended to transport natural gas from Pakistan's southern regions, where liquefied natural gas terminals are located, to industrial centers in the north. The project is expected to play a critical role in balancing regional supply and demand and enhancing energy security in Pakistan. Two potential sources of natural gas are currently under consideration for the Pakistan Stream Gas Pipeline project. One of them, above mentioned transit of Russian gas through Central Asia, involving the transportation of gas from Russia through Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Afghanistan to Pakistan. The other one is about construction of a shortened pipeline route from Iran to Pakistan, which Russia has expressed readiness to support also. These two options reflect the most realistic geopolitical energy consideration shaping regional infrastructure development and evolving the economical developments in South and Central Asia. So, railways initiatives and regional connectivity is also a story to connect Central and South Asia. There are two basic branches, you know, to construct railway projects now under construction. One is the Trans-Afghan, the second is the western branch of this project, which goes from Herat, Kandahar, Turgundi, Kandahar towards the Spin Buldak. So this is also a good alternative. It's much more longer, but taking into consideration the geographical circumstances and the environmental realities of this western branch, this is a much more easy way to construct railway. Road corridors, pilot projects, so there are lots of conclusions. Taking, as far as I have less time, I just wanted to end my talking points with the historical narratives of a civilizational roots of connectivity between Central and South Asia. These two regions, you know, have been long connected through ancient Silk Road, which served not only as a trade route, but also as a conduit for history, ideas, art, religion, and cultural practices. This enduring interaction laid the foundation for what is today a relationship based on a mutual respect and shared heritage. Since ancient times, and especially in the Middle Ages, Significant migration flows and cultural exchanges have reflected the deep trust and interconnectedness between the peoples of these two regions. One of the important pilgrimage routes from Central Asia to Saudi Arabia, Hijaz, passed through the coastal areas of South Asia, embedding South Asia into the cultural and religious life of Central Asian Muslims. A notable historical connection lies in the figure of Zahir ad-Din Muhammad Babur, one of Central Asian rulers who had to move to South Asia after his conflict with Shaybani Khan, the ruler of the nomadic Uzbek Khanate of the early 16th century. Having retreated to what is now today as Afghanistan, he was able to gain foothold there. You know, this is a history. So what I'm trying to say is that Mughals, and the father founder of Mughal Empire, Zahir ad-Din Babur, left behind an enduring Indo-Muslim cultural legacy that profoundly shaped South Asia and modern-day Pakistan. The shared historical figure symbolizes a civilizational bridge between Central and South Asia, with cultural patterns that continue to influence both societies today. Another significant historical connection lies in the figure of the Mirza Haidar Dulati, a prominent 16th century figure who ruled Kashmir on behalf of the Mughals. Mirza Haidar Dulati's legacy is shared between modern-day Kazakhstan and Pakistan due to his historical, cultural, and political impact. In Kazakhstan, Mirza Haidar Dulati is celebrated as a statesman and historian. His principal work, Tarikh-i Rashidi, is a unique chronicle documenting Central Asia's history, especially the mid-15th, 16th century rise of Kazakh Khanate. This foundational text is essential to Kazakh historiography and underpins contemporary understandings of our modern-day identity, culture, nationhood. So Kazakhstan honors his intellectual legacy. In Pakistan, Mirza Haidar Dulati's legacy is connected to Kashmir's history and the Mughal Empire. Serving as a military leader and governor under the Mughal, he played a vital role in Kashmir's political and cultural affairs in the 16th century. He died and was interred in Kashmir, where his tomb symbolizes historical ties between Central Asia and South Asia. His presence there reflects the Mughal Empire's expansion and cultural exchanges, linking the histories of present-day Pakistan and Central Asia. So in 15th, 16th centuries, there was another Mughal empire, not empire, but a medieval kingdom, or we call Khanate, which was situated in modern-day Central Asia. So that's why Babur decided to give a name of Great Mughal Empire. Great Moghulstan, we call it Moghulstan. We also have had migration and refugee connection throughout the awful turbulences of the 19th and 20th century. Beyond historical cultural ties, we can talk about the forced migrations that created important humanitarian bonds. Following the 1911 Chinese Revolution and subsequent turmoil, Kazakh nomadic communities living there were compelled to migrate in search of safety, with some arriving in the Indian subcontinent. In the late 1930s and again in 1949, 1950s, there were a couple of waves of migration. Kazakh refugees found shelter in India and Pakistan. The All India Muslim League played a notable role in supporting these Kazakh refugees. The organization passed a resolution urging the British Indian government to assist, protect, and provide safe passage for Kazakh migrants. The resolution requested that the government of India make proper arrangements and provisions for the welfare of these Kazakhs and find ways to allow them to settle peacefully in some parts of northwest India. Eventually, these efforts not only facilitated the settlement of Kazakhs in the subcontinent, but also indirectly paved the way for later migration to Turkey. Such humanitarian solidarity created a precedent precedent for mutual empathy and cooperation that continues to influence bilateral relations. And talking about, we have talked much about geopolitics, global politics, lots of things like global orders, turbulences. But we also, I think it's a high time to try to understand the identities. Every country now in the search of its own place and role in the changing world. And I guess that Pakistan's also, to some extent, in the search of its own role, in the search of its identity, even. Recently, the International Turkic Academy, which is consists of Central Asian Turkic and Turkey countries, initiated the project regarding Pakistan and its links to Turkic states. So we have completed writing specific edition dedicated to the Turkey and to the Pakistan and the Turkic states. It's I think a good chance to analyze once more from different dimensions, helping Pakistan to be much more closer and part to global Turkic states policy and developed mutual relationship. So, if I have time.
No, it's
No,
over.
thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you very much. I'm sorry I had to cut you short. Ladies and gentlemen, our last panelist, Dr. Beginch Karayev-Saparovich. He is currently working as a senior lecturer in Department of International Relations and Diplomacy at the Institute of International Relations of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Turkmenistan. Dr. Beginch is a keen researcher and he has been focusing on Central Asian relationship and traditional Central Asian societies. Starting from 1997, over the next almost a decade and a half, he headed the information and analytical structure of the Foreign Ministry of Turkmenistan. From April 2004 to 2005, he conducted research and lectures at Indiana University, Bloomington, Indiana and University Bloomington, as part of the targeted program Fulbright for visiting scholars. Dr. Beginch, Tapi gas pipeline and TAP, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, electricity are the most talked about projects for almost 3 decades. Your views about these connectivity projects in the overall regional economic integration debate would enrich the discussion. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. First and foremost, allow me to express my sincere gratitude for the invitation to take part in this highly respected forum, for the warm hospitality and for the excellent conditions created for a fruitful exchange of views. Let me quote a few lines from the poem of Muhammad Iqbal, widely known as Allama Iqbal, a highly influential Pakistani poet, influential not only Pakistan, in our country too. We very respect him, philosopher and a politician who is revered as a national poet of Pakistan. Muhammad Iqbal said in Himalayas, about the Himalayas, tell us without embellishment how our ancestors found a home near you, how noble and sophisticated they were. The story about the purity of the original start now. Imagination penetrates the origin of events. Days of our lives run back and back. I think that today's Himalaya can tell us about new era of our friendship, about roots of our historical connectivity, and so one of the examples of our today's forum. And so in my remarks today, I would like to focus on the priority of directions of Turkmenistan's regional cooperation, particularly in the fields of economy, energy, and transport. I will also touch upon the dynamics of Turkmen-Pakistani partnership, which has gained notable momentum in recent years. Turkmenistan geoeconomic strategy remains one of the key priorities of our foreign policy. Within this framework, regional cooperation occupies a central place with particular emphasis of trade and economic partnership and the implementation of major energy and transport projects. According to the foreign policy concept of Turkmenistan for 2022 and 2028, our main goal is to create favorable international conditions for national economic development, expand and diversify trade and economic relations, and ensure political and diplomatic support for the open door policy aimed at attracting foreign investment, advanced technologies, and innovative solutions of country. Turkmenistan economic diplomacy as a vital component of our foreign policy, it pursued on both bilateral and multilateral levels, including within international organizations. Guided by its natural foreign policy and the national interests, Turkmenistan built equal and mutually beneficial partnership with all states in political, economic, and the cultural sphere alike. In the multilateral dimension, Turkmenistan attaches particular importance to cooperation within the Central Asia Plus formats which focus on peace, security, and sustainable development. We also actively participate in the consultative meetings of the head of state of Central Asia. Ladies and gentlemen, the world economy today faces numerous challenges, from market volatility and the uneven regional growth to energy and the financial instability. In this condition, Turkmenistan pursues the goal of innovative, digital, circular, and green economic development. We prioritize cooperation with foreign partners in high technologies, management innovations, and the diversification of trade and economic ties. Energy cooperation remains a distinct and a crucial dimension of Turkmenistan's international engagement. Our objectives include strengthening regional and global energy security, protecting the interests of producer, transit, and consumer countries, and promoting the diversified and reliable export routes for energy resources. Turkmenistan continues consistent work on implementing the TAPI gas pipeline, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, as well as the Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan power transmission line and the fiber optic communication system. Our transport diplomacy is equally significant. The development of transport and the logistical infrastructure and access to new markets essentially not only for Turkmenistan, but for the entire region. In this regard, Turkmenistan is steadily becoming a transcontinental multimodal logistical center, linking the strategic north-south and east-west corridor. We are advancing major transport initiatives such as the Lapis-Lazuli corridor, Afghanistan, Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, Georgia, Turkey, and the Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Iran, Oman road. Allow me some words to touch upon the growing and the constructive cooperation between Turkmenistan and Pakistan. Pakistan was among the first countries it recognized Turkmenistan's independence in 1991, and diplomatic relations were established in May 1992. It is symbolic that in March 1995, during the third ECO summit in Islamabad, Turkmenistan first announced its intention to initiate the UN resolution of permanent neutrality, which Pakistan actively supported that same year. Since then, Pakistan has consistently endorsed Turkmenistan's peace-oriented initiatives, including as a co-sponsor of the United Nations General Assembly resolutions of reliable and stable transit of energy. Today, Turkmenistan and Pakistan enjoy dynamic cooperation of politics, economy, energy, transport, education, and culture. Both sides are implementing major regional energy and communication projects, most notable the TAPI gas pipeline and TAP power and fiber optic transmission lines. These initiatives will bring long-term benefits to regional stability and prosperity, particularly for the all country, I think that all region. According to Pakistan's new appointed ambassador Faryal Legari, as of 2025, there have been 19 high-level visits by Pakistani delegations and 28 ministerial level exchanges and 5 senior visits, while Turkmenistan has conducted 4 presidential, 10 ministerial and 1 parliamentary visits to Pakistan. The legal framework of our cooperation includes 48 memorandum of understanding with additional agreement under preparation in trade, logistics, maritime transport, culture, education, and tourism. Textile trade presents another promoting avenue, with Turkmen cotton and the wool complementing Pakistan's textile expertise.
Dr. Begench, ladies and gentlemen, now this is the time for question and answers. My request would be that please keep your questions brief and also identify the participant to whom you want to address your question. The floor is open, please. Identify yourselves and your question. Sir. Mike, please hand over the mic.
I'm Shahid Hashmat, Pakistan's former High Commissioner to Sri Lanka. I have an academic interest in international cooperation and international security. My question is open to all members of the panel. There is no denial to the fact that Central Asia has enormous energy resources, and for the last many decades, since all these states they became independent from the former Soviet Union, we have been hearing that all these states are interested for their relations, economic relations more so, with the South Asia and taking advantage of the warm waters of Indian Ocean as it has been highlighted. The two aspects I just want to ask. One, when we read about the interstate economic activity within Central Asia, one finds there is hardly 10 to 15%. So what is the problem that all these 5 states, they have not been able to integrate their own economy and take advantage of that? Second, linked with that, the biggest problem of the Central Asian states being connected with the rest of the world through Pakistan, or even for that matter through Iran, because these are two main areas from where they can be, is the security and stability in Afghanistan. For the last 50 years, I don't have to narrate what all has gone, we all know it. In what way these countries can join hand with Pakistan, especially making use of the SCO platform? Because if there is a problem between Pakistan and Afghanistan, as Dr. Moeed was also mentioning that it has been for last quite some time, either we are rushing to Doha or we are going to Istanbul. Whereas the problem probably can be better resolved within the region. So can the Central Asian states play an important role in improving the security and the stability of the Afghanistan, especially making use of the SCO? the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, because they're all members of this organization. And the Shanghai Cooperation Charter, it does allow, to a limited extent, the conflict resolution mechanism as well. It was very heartening to know that all these Central Asian states, they have no border disputes at all. Thank you.
Thank you. The floor is open. Can any one of our participants respond to this?
Also Afghanistan. Huh? I offered to give an answer from those participants who border Afghanistan. Our country not bordering, I can make my comment, but they are much closer. Actually, short answer is that we will be making steps forward to communicate and cooperate with Afghani government. It's not easy, but our policy would be moving through the art of possible. Communication is better than ignoring. Huh? So what we are doing is that we're discussing a lot of infrastructure projects, and we receive a lot of positive signals from Afghani government. We have regular dialogues between each other, and step by step, we will be more and more engaging, because Afghani government, they understanding. In terms of security, of course, we want to guarantee that it will not be security threat or anything dangerous from their territory, number one. Number two, to engage to dialogue. There is no other way. Formally, we are not, let's recognize that government, but it will come.
Yes, thank you for the quick question. We can wait for a long time till peace will be so how we wish in Afghanistan. Yeah, I think these inter-regional projects, trans-regional projects, must be separated from security and policy, because these socio-economic projects, trans-regional projects, which connect us, our countries, can be the solution. It can be the solution. You know, Uzbekistan was the first country and the one country which has built a railway to Mazar-e-Sharif. It was 20 years ago, and it's functioning today. It is possible. I think Afghanistan and our region around Afghanistan need a success story. We have to build these trans-regional projects. It can attract investments, but it can increase interest of the involved parties in Afghanistan and around Afghanistan in maintaining stability. In my opinion, these projects are not only about business. It's peacemaking projects. It's very important. Yes, Shanghai Cooperation Organization must be involved, I'm convinced, because it's the space of this organization. Yeah? And this organization must take the responsibility, I think, for the situation in Afghanistan. And this organization has a contact group on Afghanistan. It was created, and Uzbekistan has proposed to adopt a program for socio-economic restoration of Afghanistan. It was our President Shavkat Mirziyoyev. But there are some differences in this organization, but in my opinion, this organization, which covers this space, must show more responsibility for Afghanistan. Yeah? And dialogue, I agree with you, is only one viable option. Yeah? Because it's our experience in Central Asia. 8 years ago, our borders with Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan were mined. We had military on the border. They were closed. And nowadays, you can pass the border with Kyrgyzstan with ordinary ID card. With ordinary ID card. 8 years ago, when our president became as a president, we have worked some principles, how we will deal with our neighbors. First, dialogue. How accurate issues can be, they must be subject of the dialogue. It was the first principle. Second, proactive dialogue. We said, we don't must wait till they will come, our neighbors. We have to go to them. Third, dialogue as equal partners. You have to understand, Uzbekistan was always the center of empires. Yeah? Our president has said, we have to handle our neighbors as equal partners. And third, readiness to make compromises, rational compromise. You cannot take without to give. It was very important, and these principles led to ground of our policy. And I think we have today more consolidated region, more consolidated, and it opens huge opportunities for us.
Thank you. I have more questions also. From this side, if someone can. Yeah. Please identify yourself. The lady.
Thank you very much. My name is Dr. Aisha Khan from Namal University. I'm very thankful to all the participants for insightful presentations and talk. So my question is open to all the Central Asian guests, but I would like Dr. Moeed also to please comment on this. I have noticed that you all talked about Shanghai Cooperation Organization and so many other regional projects, but nobody touched upon the importance of Economic Cooperation Organization that is also a regional arrangement exists in the Central Asia. So the question is basically that, how do you see that its current and potential role in shaping economic and infrastructure linkages, because ECO is focusing more on the infrastructure projects. And do you think the organization is still relevant in this regard? So thank you very much.
Well, I happen to be ambassador in Iran, and I was dealing with the Economic Cooperation Organization. There were many problems. The founding members are Iran, Pakistan, Turkey. And then we had 5 Central Asian states and Azerbaijan that joined in '92. And till date, the intra-ECO trade has not increased more than 4% of their trade with the outside world. There were a host of reasons. One was that Central Asian states were newly independent. They were synergizing their banking systems, which took a lot, which took quite a considerable time, and it could not. Then political systems also did matter. So Central Asian states, Azerbaijan, and then Iran, Pakistan, Turkey being founding members, but also pursuing some different political systems. So these are the broad elements I can identify, but our other friends, if they want to be interested, so they are also.
So regarding the activity of Organization of Economic Cooperation, right? Correctly. So it's a very emblematic that Turkey, Iran, Pakistan, and Central Asian countries making up this organization from the very beginning.
Also Azerbaijan.
Yes, Azerbaijan, definitely. if we are talking about Turkey, we do mean Azerbaijan. It's nearby and is and will be. So this is in fact, it's a very interesting platform. A very, it's very emblematic that from one hand Pakistan, from this another hand Turkey, from southern side Iran, and to the north Central Asia, they are making up a club of countries. I do believe in the future of this organization, but it depends on how the politicians and policymakers can take advantage of this organization. This organization much trade, okay. It was mentioned that because of the different political developments that preventing anyway, the only fact that the organization is alive and is going to be further developing further, that's a good sign of a future capability of this organization.
One factor to this, not an encouraging level of trade is that we have signed free trade area, FTA, among the ECO countries, but exchange of lists remain an issue among different countries. I won't name them, but so unless you exchange the list and your negative list, so that's how the problems are. For instance, we have Transit Transport Framework Agreement, TTFA, between the ECO countries, signed way back in '98, but it is still stuck. So these are the problems, some lingering problems which are there, infrastructural problems are there, political will is there, that is also an issue. So let's talk frankly, because we are here just to understand the issues, how that can be resolved. For instance, Afghanistan is a big hurdle. There's no doubt about it. It's not that hurdle from Pakistan's perspective, but within Afghanistan, there is a problem. So I can't bring unity to Afghanistan. You can't bring it. It is up to the Afghans when they want to bring unity. But that becomes a hurdle. Right now, Afghans are sitting on trillions of dollars worth of critical materials, but they can't exploit it. Right now, those are rock and dust. Same is the case with us. We are sitting on trillions of dollars of critical materials, but those remain rock and dust till the time we have the capability to exploit them or we have the collaboration. Right now, it is very much on the paper, on the drawing board, but practically we still have to wait. Yes, please. Yeah, Mike here.
Thank you. This is Mateen Haider. I host shows on security and foreign affairs, and you have been active participant. Today, we are fortunate to have with us former National Security Advisor, Dr. Mohit Yusuf. I wanted to ask him, focus of these all recent questions and points were Afghanistan. What went wrong actually with Afghan Taliban that they have become so much hostile towards Pakistan? So these all dreams of security, connectivity, and economy cannot be achieved. We all are focusing CASA last 20 years, and similarly all other connectivity projects with Central Asian states. No Pakistani military and political leadership has made it clear that there will be no compromise on Pakistan's security. Third round of dialogue in Istanbul has faced deadlock. That will fail.
Let's not make it a Pakistan,
so I need your comments.
Debate. We are talking about collective security, connectivity, as well as economy. But yes, Dr. Muiris, if you want.
Thank you. I think it's a long debate, but all I will say is that it's this particular sort of turn of events, if you will, is a very, very good time for us to deeply introspect whether the policy orientations and analyses that we put out and then start believing in, to the point of considering them gospel truths, are actually so. So this is one example where I think collectively we had a view on what would happen if the Taliban were in such a position that they're in today, and the results are very different. Why is that? If we can answer that question, I think we can address a lot of the perhaps deficiencies in the way we learn lessons.
Audience from here? All right. All right, lady. This
Hello,
is the last
everyone.
question.
Hello, everyone. I'm Geoeconomics Atif. I'm also from the host team. Thank you so much, everyone, for enlightening us with your discourse. With all that is being said, what is that missing linchpin that keeps us away from strengthening the true integration of Eurasia, as all Central Asian states representatives are sitting here today? Despite the vast geopolitical potential, why do these infrastructure and connectivity projects continue to falter repeatedly? And why do we see the kind of resistance against models like ASEAN and EU? How come Central Asia, despite being so close, so connected, seems to be failing at it? Thank you so much.
I don't hear. What is it? The short answer is geography. Geography. So the flight between Tashkent and Islamabad is 1 hour, 15 minutes. Very short distance, but if you look to the landscape, then you can see there is no transportation, no ground transportation. You cannot do. In early days, during the old Silk Road, you use camels and horses, right? But these days, you cannot do it anymore. So the story is that we have to make new transport corridors through Afghanistan. And this is the story. So we're moving in that direction step by step. Number one is provide security. Number two, to find finances to pay for these projects. Before Taliban, we already fixed everything. Like international financial institutions were prepared to pay everything, to credit to this line for many different reasons. Now, they are not anymore in the process, so we have to find some other way. And that is what we're doing under the leadership of Uzbekistan from one trajectory. Another idea is to move through Kazakhstan and Turkmenistan a little bit to the western part. But we are in active discussion on unlock Central and South Asia corridors. Next to it, the energy corridor, TAPI. Another one is so-called CASA 1000, when the transportation of electricity can be arranged, whatever. So all these things are on process, and we will be closer. No political debates, no arguments.
I think I said it's the last question, perhaps they won't up. No, it's coming. No.
Without mic.
Yeah.
Coming here.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am General Nasir Janjua, and I am former National Security Advisor. We are so pleased to find you here, and we are honored with your presence here, all of you. And I remember how much we worked together, and then subsequently, Mr. Moeed, that we came so close. Together, we envisioned a lot when we were together, and that vision is still there, obviously. You are gift of God but also a gift of war to us. It's amazing that you were carved at the end of a war in which we contributed a lot. And in that vision, we have a common future. Common future that you also, if you are landlocked, you also make our front to Eurasia. And on this side, we have to take you to African markets. So that is our future. I would say, please take back our love, affections, trust to your countries. It's great to have you here. Actually, you have to be here sooner than later. And like General Shahid said, basically, what is between us? What is taken our good future as a hostage is unstable Afghanistan. 5 of you on the other side, and we are 1 on this side. So I want to suggest to you that if you can think collectively, you may not be bordering directly with Afghanistan, but then you have to pass through a brotherly country and then Afghanistan, so it is one or the same thing. So if you can think collectively and pursue with Afghanistan that let's have our economic activity, social development going, and let's our good future not be a hostage to it. So 5 of you on the other side, we are also trying through dialogue to put things right. But I think let's make this effort mutual. This is the message that I wanted to give you. I thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Dr. Moeed Yusuf.
Just one line on this. I think, General Nasir, excellent point. And also, time is of the essence. Because so much is happening, I think the world will not wait, things will move on. So the sooner we can get this right, the better it is. I held this back, so with your permission, I want to congratulate IPRI, President IPRI. This is an institution that is very, very close to my heart, and I actually oversaw as the NSA. We did a lot together, and I'm thrilled to see it blossom and this dialogue become better and better every year. So, Jalal Sahab, Bahut Mubarak, and to the team, Rashid, Naveed, and everybody else who does this. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Yusuf. Thank you, our worthy panels.
1 minute.
Yes, please.
So, Mr. General mentioned that we have a common future. I'm convinced that we have the common future. But we speak always about the connectivity. I think sometimes that we have to speak about reconnectivity. Reconnectivity.
Reconnecting means?
When you know the history, in the 2nd century before Christ, we had in our region Kushan Empire. The capital city was in Termez, Dalvarzin Tepa. It was a summer residence, but the winter residence was in the near of Peshawar, in Pura Shapura. So you see that our regions were historically interconnected. And it's very important, I think, sometimes to speak more about reconnectivity. Yeah? We do not do something new. We try to restore what we had historically. Thank you. I think we can do it.
Very much. Thank you very much, worthy participants, audience. You have been a wonderful audience. Thank you so much. Hand over to our Master of Ceremony.
Thank you very much, worthy speakers and moderator. This brings us to the end of this session. I request President IPRI to please come on the stage and present mementos to our moderator and worthy speakers.